Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we unravel the complex world of corporate finance and try not to get lost in the footnotes. In this video, we are diving deep into Terra Income Fund 6 LLC's latest report, where things are looking a bit mixed, like a financial salad with some interesting ingredients. Are you ready to decode what is really going on with this company's money? Before we dig in, if you like getting straight to the juicy financial insights without all the fluff, make sure you are subscribed and join our growing community over on Discord, linked in the description below. Alright, let's start with the big picture, their balance sheet as of the 30th of September 2025. Right off the bat, we see cash and cash equivalents have shot up from about 3 million to over 11 million. That is a nice boost, like finding extra change we forgot we had. Now, loans held for investment are up from 18.5 million to 21.4 million. This is their core business, lending out money secured by real estate. The fact that the allowance for credit losses, that is money set aside for loans that might not get paid back, is a tiny fraction of this portfolio for the current period is interesting. But then, look at this promissory note receivable. It is down from about 45 million to 38 million. This is a related party loan, meaning it is with an affiliated company, Terra. Getting paid back on this seems to be a priority. Overall, total assets have dipped slightly from nearly 116 million to just under 109.5 million. It seems like they are shifting some assets around. On the liability side, unsecured notes payable, which is essentially their debt, has crept up from about 36.5 million to 37.6 million. This is a pretty stable number, but any debt carries risk. And finally, members' capital, which is what the owners have invested, has dropped significantly from a little over 60 million down to 53 million. This drop is directly linked to the net losses we will see in the income statement. Let's flip over to the income statement, the consolidated statements of operations and comprehensive loss. This shows us how much money they made and spent. For the 9 months ended the 30th of September 2025, total interest income was about 5.6 million, down slightly from 5.78 million in the same period last year. Not a huge change, but a decrease in the main revenue driver is always something to watch. Now, look at the provision for credit losses. This is the estimated amount they think they might lose on their loans. It has shot up from 1.57 million to 2.53 million. That is a nearly 62% jump. This means they are setting aside a lot more money just in case borrowers can't repay. This is a pretty significant warning sign about the health of their loan portfolio. And then we have losses from their other investments, the ones where they don't have full control. These ballooned from a loss of 2.94 million to over 3.4 million. It appears these joint ventures are not performing as well as hoped. All of this combined leads to a pretty substantial net loss. For the first 9 months of 2025, the net loss was nearly 7.9 million, up from a loss of about 6.9 million last year. They are losing more money, and that is why members' capital went down so much. On the other hand, they had a nice gain on their available for sale debt securities, over $215,000. This is a small silver lining, but it does not offset the much larger losses in their core business. Okay, let's dive into the notes. These are the crucial details that explain the numbers. Remember that big jump in the provision for credit losses? Here they explain it. A significant portion of this increase is related to a non-performing loan. When a loan is non-performing, it means the borrower is not paying as agreed, and they are now worried about getting their money back. And speaking of non-performing loans, they had 3 of them at the end of September 2025, with a total outstanding balance of about $49 million. That is a huge chunk of their loan book, and the allowance for credit losses on these alone is over $18 million. This is a major concern. They also use a risk rating system for their loans, from 1 for very low risk to 5 for highest risk. Currently, they have only 1 performing loan in the low risk category, and the rest are either non-performing or not rated. This suggests a very concentrated and risky loan portfolio. In their unconsolidated investments, they have stakes in 2 joint ventures. One is SF Dallas Industrial LLC, where they own 80%. This used to be worth almost 34 million, but has dropped to about 25 million. It seems this investment is also facing challenges. The losses from these investments are considerable, as we saw on the income statement. This is impacting their overall profitability. Let's look at their debt. They have their 7.00% senior notes due 2026, totaling about 38.4 million. These are due to mature on the 31st of March 2026. They plan to repay them with loan repayments, asset sales, and borrowing more money if needed. They also have an obligation under a participation agreement of about 18.2 million. This means they've essentially borrowed against some of their loans. This obligation is due within the next 12 months. Now, for the management's take on things, they acknowledge the economy and interest rates can impact their business. They are heavily reliant on their manager. Terra Advisors, LLC. Their net loan portfolio is concentrated with one large loan making up about 77.3% of their total net loans. This is a very high concentration, meaning if that one loan has problems, it will have a huge impact on the entire company. For the third quarter of 2025, the provision for credit losses was over $900,000. This is a substantial increase from the prior year's third quarter, showing their concern about loan defaults is growing. The losses from their equity in unconsolidated investments continue to mount, with a loss of nearly $1.9 million in the third quarter alone. Interest expense on their unsecured notes remained pretty stable, around $1 million per quarter. This is a fixed cost they have to manage. When we look at cash flows from operating activities, they are using more cash than they are bringing in. For the first 9 months of 2025, they used about $917,000. This means their operations aren't generating enough cash to cover their expenses. Their investing activities show more cash coming in than going out, about $9.4 million for the 9 months. This is largely due to repayments of loans and that promissory note receivable from Terra REIT. This is what is keeping them afloat, but it is not from their core lending business generating profits. Financing activities show no net cash flow for the 9 months of 2025. This means no new major debt or equity was raised or paid down in a significant way. Okay, let's wrap this up with my take. Terra Income Fund 6 LLC is facing some significant headwinds. While they show a healthy increase in cash, it seems to be coming from loan repayments more than from profitable operations. The massive increase in their allowance for credit losses and the large chunk of non-performing loans are major red flags. It looks like their core lending business is under strain, and their other investments aren't picking up the slack. Their strategy of focusing on real estate debt is inherently risky, and when the market turns, as it seems to be doing, those risks become very apparent. The high concentration in a few loans amplifies this risk considerably. They are keeping their heads above water thanks to repayments and a loan from related parties, but profitability is nowhere in sight. They need to address the issues with their non-performing loans and diversify their portfolio to reduce concentration risk if they want to turn things around. Alright, that is our deep dive into Terra Income Fund 6 LLC's latest report. Are you surprised by these numbers? What do you think about their heavy reliance on a few large loans? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more financial investigations. And don't forget to join our Discord community. It is a great place to keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next dissection.